This is a film showing the results of whale watching trips off Vancouver Island on Canada's Pacific West Coast. Both orca, or killer whales, and humpback whales were seen up close and displaying interesting behaviors. The first whale watching trip was at Campbell River.
Campbell River is an excellent location to take a whale watching trip. Our trip lasted 4 hours under a gloriously sunny sky with an abundance of humpback whales and orcas swimming about the sea. Whale watching boats are fast, as the locations that the whales frequent are some distance from port. The boats have to comply with whale watching rules to reduce the impact of their presence on the whales. The rules govern how close the boats can approach a whale and how long they can remain with a whale. On our trip, we first encountered a pod of 9 orca or killer whales. The beautiful orca is actually not a whale at all, but it is the largest member of the dolphin family, and they live in every ocean of the world. They are apex predators with almost no enemies save humans and very large sharks. The resident killer whales in the Salish Sea live together in extended family groups called pods. The pods are centered around older females, as both male and female offspring remain in close association with their mothers for life. They share food, sleep together, play, hunt, explore, and travel as a group. Orcas swim about 120 kilometers per day, traveling an average of 13 kilometers per hour. However, they can reach a speed of up to 48 kilometers per hour for a short period of time. Males can grow a dorsal fin as tall as 2 meters at sexual maturity. The sight of this huge dorsal fin rising up from the water is very impressive. We were lucky to see some of the orcas tail slapping and breaching clear of the water. Some of this activity may have been play, while other activities such as tail slapping may have been mothers teaching the young how to hunt, as orcas can use tail slapping to stun their prey.
Not going anywhere.
Male orcas grow up to 8 meters long and weigh as much as 5,400 kilograms, while females grow up to 7 meters long and weigh up to 2,700 kilograms.
Okay, your camera, Emma.
The scene that unfolded before us was even more interesting, as there was a humpback whale that was being harassed by the orcas. The orcas were swimming beside, over top, and in front of the humpback. The humpback was clearly annoyed and trumpeted to indicate his displeasure. Orcas are black and white with a unique gray saddle patch on the back at the base of the dorsal fin.
Well, this is the most interesting part.
Whoa! Did you guys hear the noise the humpback just made?
As the whale-watching boats pass on sightings amongst themselves, the scene before us drew many whale-watching boats, whilst overhead a search and rescue aircraft flew past.
These are right alongside that whale.
Can you give them the tail slaps?
After our allowable time limit with the orcas inspired, we moved on to a meteorological buoy that was serving as a rest platform for sea lions.
I love it.
Get off my foot!
Leaving the sea lions, we sailed further south into an area where there were 6 humpback whales repeatedly diving down in search of food. As they were making deep dives, their tail flukes were repeatedly visible, and our boat captain expertly positioned our boat so that we'd get a good view of the unique markings on their tail flukes.
Come on! Yeah, dabba-do! That's how you...
These markings can be used to uniquely identify a whale.
There goes the tail fluke.
There you go. There's one. Come on, let's do it. Yep. There's 2.
No, that's the third.
The second whale watching trip was at Victoria on the southern end of Vancouver Island.
The picturesque city of Victoria is the capital of the province of British Columbia, and half of Vancouver Island's population of 780,000 lives in the area. Victoria's inner harbour is busy with a steady stream of seaplanes flying on the Vancouver Harbour-Victoria Harbour route. Most of the seaplanes are operated by Harbour Air, which owns 40 seaplanes, making it the largest all-seaplane fleet in North America. The MV Coho is a Blackball Line ferry that operates between Victoria and Port Angeles in Washington State. It makes several round trips a day, as the distance covered is only 37 kilometers across the Strait of Juan de Fuca. The cute Victoria Harbour taxis transport people around the harbour, including to Fisherman's Wharf. The popular Fisherman's Wharf is populated largely with float homes, but also includes working fishing vessels, pleasure boats with live-aboard residents, and float businesses, mainly seafood restaurants. From Fisherman's Wharf, we took an evening whale-watching trip to the Straits of Juan de Fuca. We were fortunate on this trip to see orca, humpback whales, stellar sea lions, and a glorious sunset. We encountered 3 orcas off Esquimalt. There was a mother with her calf and a large mature male orca. In the distance beyond the orca, we could see Mount Baker, a 3,200 meter high active glaciated stratovolcano in Washington State.
Learn how to hunt and how to communicate to each other and where to...
The appearance of the male's 2 meter high dorsal fin rising out of a sparkling sea was unforgettable. The orca's unique gray saddle patch behind the dorsal fin was readily visible on the adult female. These unique saddle patches are like fingerprints and help observers to identify individuals within a population. Leaving the orcas, we sped off into the Strait of Juan de Fuca in search of humpback whales. Passing Race Rocks, we could see the Olympic Mountains in the distance in Washington State. The humpback whales were busy lunge feeding, which is a method of surface feeding. When lunge feeding, the humpback dives down beneath a school of fish and rises to the surface with its mouth wide open. Once it reaches the surface, it will swallow and use its baleen to filter out the fish from the salt water, and then force out the excess water. The fish knew that the whales were feeding, as some were jumping out of the water to avoid being swallowed. The sight of a large mouth rising out of the ocean was impressive. The humpbacks take in so much water that the pleats on their throats are hugely distended when they surface. After a while, the humpback stopped feeding and started swimming further west in the Strait of Juan de Fuca. Leaving the humpbacks, we started the return trip to Victoria, but first stopped at Race Rocks Light to see the seals and stellar sea lions. The boat reached 30 knots as its twin 700 horsepower engines were driving the water jets. The stellar sea lion, which is found across the northern Pacific, is the largest species of sea lion. Race Rocks Light was built in 1859 of granite quarried in Scotland. The lighthouse keepers are long gone, as it has been automated since 1997. At 10 p.m. we were back in the inner harbor for disembarkation after an excellent whale watching trip.
If you enjoyed this film, please subscribe and like. There are many more similar films available on my channel.